Hello ladies and gentlemen, PlayAsia supplied me with this copy of this game, so if you want to support me and the channel, use the link in the description to go and buy something, and there's also a coupon code you can use to save a couple of bucks off your order. You'll be helping me out and hopefully you'll be buying something good. Thanks for your support, enjoy the show. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out SD Gundam G Generation Cross Rays. Because hell yes, I loved Genesis on the Vita. I thought it was a great idea. And I wish I had more time to play it, but now it's probably going to be taken up by whatever time I want to spend playing Cross Rays, because, well, Cross Rays is just better in most respects. With that said, let's just actually get into the game. I am playing on the PC version here, and there is a PS4 and a Switch version, and obviously I'd recommend the Switch version if you could, because I tried playing this PC port on the GPD Win 2, which very clearly doesn't meet the minimum requirements. It runs fine, and by fine I mean around 30 frames a second in the overworld, but once you get into the actual animations and stuff, it gets a bit choppy, we'll put it that way. But yeah, look at all the animations going in the background, they look great. It's the same sort of appeal that games like Super Robot Wars have, but somehow it manages to look sometimes better, sometimes worse. So we actually have a fair few options here, because as I said, this is the PC version. So they give you not only do they give you a fair few things to play with here as well, they give you an absolute ton of control options as well. I appreciate all the options here, these are all very useful. I've got them all of my own preferred blend. If there are no more inactive units during your turn, the turn will end automatically and becomes the enemy's turn. That's actually useful, I'll turn that on later. So here's some controls, some basic stuff here for the gamepad, which they do allow you to use, but you can also go and remap every single key, which is a really nice touch, but I actually play the game almost entirely with the mouse. You can do that if you like, and they even have a bunch of like shortcut keys here if you want them, which is even cooler. The only downside is that I couldn't find a way to map buttons to mouse 4 or mouse 5, but that's a nitpick, in all honesty. That's a minor nitpick in comparison to everything else. Typical sound sliders, background music, and look out. When battle begins, in the case of the same background music, it'll be interrupted and played from the beginning. Interesting concept for an option. It's nice that it's there, I suppose. Brightness and some PC settings. A lot of these are pretty self-explanatory, and you can have it in full screen and borderless window, and if you want to play it like 4K internal resolution, you can do that from here, which is a nice touch. I'm not going to do that. I'm fine with 1080p. That, and my rig can almost hit 240 in the 3D scenes. It gets close, but it doesn't, because this is an 8700K and an RTX 2080. They actually had a fair few problems with the PC port when it first launched. And by when it first launched, I mean within like the first hour of it launching, because I didn't notice. I played the initial battle and I was fine, but then I realized that everything was doing way more damage than it reasonably should. Everybody else noticed too. They patched it within 3 hours, and if I remember correctly, the game is still recovering from the review bomb. Apparently a lot of people were also complaining about crashes and stuff as well, but I haven't had the game crash on me once. Other than the whole 10 times damage thing, which they patched almost immediately, the game's been solid as a rock, which I appreciate quite a lot. That's what you expect, but still, it's nice. So, I've got about 7 hours in it so far, and I've finished about 6 missions, because the missions are just as long as if you remember G Generation Genesis. So, I have to explain to you the concept of the game now, for those of you who aren't familiar with SD Gundam, and to be fair, by the time this video goes out, there'll be very few of you that aren't. But here's the drill, basically. SD Gundam G Generation Genesis basically had all the stories of the original universe of Gundam, which was Universal Century, or UC. And you could play through them in a series of stages, which would tell the tales of the big fights of those particular franchises. And you could use robots, you could use Gundams, I should say, but you could also use robots like mobile workers and stuff like that. But you could use Gundams from anywhere else within the franchise, and by going through the franchise that you liked, playing that level and using the particular Gundam that you want to unlock, you can get that Gundam and then put it into your own team, and you can get new Gundams onto your team in order to improve your team's power and play through on higher difficulty. So as you can see, you've got 3 different difficulties per stage here: normal, hard, and extra. So when you play through on normal, you can then play through on hard and extra, and you get bonus rewards for it. And that was the Genesis game, which had the entirety of Universal Century. This game has 4 different franchises instead, and 4 different universes instead of one. It's got Gundam Wing, Gundam Seed, Gundam 00, and Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. Good choices, in all honesty. Like, not the best choices, but at the same time, they already used, like, all of the Universal Century stuff they were going to get. And outside of that, these 4 universes are pretty much the 4 big ones that aren't, these are the 4 big ones that aren't Universal Century. Some people might have appreciated something along the lines of, like, some of the more minor series also getting a look in. But apparently this game's also getting some DLC content further on, which will unlock units from Turner Gundam, which is still technically within Universal Century, but is kind of in this weird there, not there section, and it's just odd, but it's fine. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. So, I played like 6 stages. I played all of Stargazer because I wanted to get the Strike Noir Gundam. Could have done it only with the first stage, but that's fine too. The Strike Noir is probably my favorite suit in all 4 of these franchises. I played the first stage of Iron-Blooded Orphans, the first 2 of Wing, and the first stage of Astray to get my hands on a Astray of some kind, and I did. I got my hands on a blue Astray, only to go and look at my captured units and realize that I had 3 gold Astrays lying around. So I'm going to have to build a unit entirely comprised of Astrays, because that's what we do around here. But yes, I've played a few of the stages. What you might notice is that there's a lot of stages. Like, you got 8 for Wing, you got 9 for Seed, and you actually have, like, 15 for 00. 13, sorry. You have 13 for 00. So there's a lot of stages, and the whole idea of the game is that you're meant to come back and play on the higher difficulties in order to give yourself a little bit more of that challenge. It's a lot like the old Dynasty Warriors games, where you would die in one hit on the higher difficulties, and you had to go grind equipment on normal in order to stand a chance. So there's plenty of stages to do, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to go and talk about the organization. And for everyone who knows how in-depth these games can get, good news, you're going to be here for 20 minutes. Everyone else, skip to like half an hour or something. Can't guarantee you what it's going to be, but it's going to be a little bit longer in the future. We'll get to everything else in due time. So, organization. You can have up to 4 groups, and they can be any of the 2 kinds, the Warship Group and the new Raid Group, which is a new kind of unit they introduced in this one. Back in Genesis, you could only have warships. So if we go to form groups, we can see the general layout of a squad. So this is our warship, the carry base. It's the most basic one you can get. There's not really that much you can do about it, but still, it's nice to have. And it's actually a pretty decent ship. It will last you a decent amount of time. And that's staffed by 6 people, and the game automatically assigns you this crew, so I just left it like that. But you do actually get a ton of pilots and just other people that you can stick in if you like, not to mention the in-canon pilots that you can go get. All of these characters are from the G-Generation series pre-Genesis. I love Goat Logan. I love his name. That is a ridiculous name. That's why he's always in the #1 slot. But yeah, I got all of these people leveled up pretty heavily, and when they level up, they unlock skills. So if I go to his stats here, you can see some skills, and we can see what her skills are there. Evasion 10% for units within the selected area. A selected unit within the selected area returns to warship. I didn't even know I had that. That's going to be useful. And mind save, MP consumption 25% for units within the selected area. Can I go back and... yeah, let's set her skill to... Can I select this one? How do I select that one? Do I have to... hang on, I have to go back to manage characters, don't I? So where is she? Where are you, Luna? Come on. I know you... there you are. Right. You want to go to skills, you want to set return. There we go. Do I have to spend money to do that? No, I don't. Okay. I just want to make sure I have that, because that's actually a really useful ability in a pinch. Right, so... back to form groups. So we've got all of these guys, and all of their stats down the bottom here will determine how well they do inside of the ship. All of these stats here on the left are what determines how they do in an individual mobile suit. And there are plenty of things that can help with that as well. So you got skills, which are active skills, and the only person who can use skills in a warship group is, I believe, the master, or possibly the team leaders. I didn't exactly check, if I'm being perfectly honest, because I haven't gotten to the point where I need to use skills yet, but they're very useful. Especially since you get like 9 skills to use throughout an entire level, so being able to do a couple of heals in the same turn is really nice. You've also got the ability to use skills on the warship, and as you saw there, I thought I changed it. I might need to do something different. Alright, we'll just leave that alone for now. But yeah, you can do that with all of those characters as well, not to mention their mobile suits. Oh yeah, I should also point out that you can train them for cash, which we have a fair amount of up there, but we don't need that. We can also give them extra... Oh right, I have to hit the button down there. Right, my mistake. Let's just go do that now before I forget it. Hit right click. I swear you can play this game entirely on the mouse. Right, set return. Switching skills does not use capital. Thank you very much. Right. So, those are your individual pilots, and you can move them to put them into another slot. You can swap them out for another character. You can put them on standby to remove them. You can train them for money, and you can see their stats and skills. You've also got, of course, mobile suits, which are way more interesting because they have many ways to be upgraded and developed on. So they've all got their own stats, and they've also got their own abilities here. So you can see how effective they'll be in particular environments. You can also see how much they're capable of moving. Excuse me. So we can also go to modify to put on some extra equipment, including the ability to restore 3 HP return to all ally units within 4 spaces. So he's basically just hit a healing. And you can also move a fair bit further. And there are also another few things you can do. When you level up, you get upgrade points, which you can apply to any stat you like. Actually, it might be better to give him some extra HP. That's a good idea. We'll give him some extra HP. The more you level up, the more of those points you get. I do believe I also have someone. This one I do, and considering the defense is pretty low, we can just upgrade that. Go back here, we can also go to... Oh, I always forget it's not in your hands. So this one doesn't have much going for it because the Sisquid Titan's color was actually a pre-order unit. However, let's move to a unit that we can do some extra things with. So we can actually exchange units. So if I go here, I can exchange the Gundam Australia for what appear to be quite lower stat units. Like, for example, look at this one's stats, for example. It's got 145, 140, and 150 versus 200, 175, and 220. So you're basically just trading down. But if you need to get a specific kind of unit and you've got some extra units lying around, that's usually a pretty way to go about it. Mainly because of this. So when your unit levels up in battles, you get the ability to actually upgrade them into an entirely different kind of unit. So I can swap out, if I like, this Gundam Australia for the Gundam Australia Type F. And if I press X, I can see what this guy's going for it. It's got Trans Am. That's awesome. We're swapping it. So now the unit returns to level 1, but it is now a stronger unit. There are so many cool things you can do with this approach. And there are a couple of things I actually added in this new game that make it really interesting to do. Because not only can you develop units, you can do it multiple times. So I can actually put that back into another completely different unit when that levels up in order to keep going up along the thing. Here's another example. Here's the Astray. I can turn it into an M1 Astray, an M1 Astray Shrike, a civilian Astray, or a Gundam Astray Gold Frame, which I want to do because its stats are higher. Because yes. And you can do this with pretty much any unit in the game. Like, I can turn that into a Tierran Tauzi, which probably has better weaponry, doesn't have better stats. But that's just something for you to figure out over time. We're just going to leave these guys leveled up. Does this one do anything different? No, it just turns into another Tauzi. With the same attacks, box. However, there are some units that are notably a bit more difficult to get. So the Strike Noir. This is a unit I unlocked by using it a lot in a level. We'll be able to show this off when I actually go play a level. But once you use it enough to get enough hits and kills, you can buy it just directly outright from the shop for a lot of money. And that's what I've done with the Strike Noir. And I love the Strike Noir, which is why I'm really happy that I was able to do this, because the Strike Noir is just an awesome suit. Don't at me. And yes, look at his stats. 270, 240, 270. And not only to mention, I could put some extra, like, equipment on it if I want to. So I can go and put, where is it? Modified. So if I wanted to, I could give it, like, extra evasion. Like, even more evasion if I want. I could take off the, thing, a 10,000 health thing I have going on another unit and put it on it and make it even stronger. So the idea is you're playing through these these levels, you're finding units that you like, and you're upgrading them, you're changing them into other units, and you can make your perfect Gundam team. Which, I've said it before and I'll say it again, is fucking awesome. This is legitimately a really satisfying system, because if you're even remotely familiar with, like, the sort of mobile suits that are in these systems, leveling up, like, just a simple grunt unit, and then realizing when you enhance it that it immediately gets to turn into a Gundam Estrella, which can then turn into a Gundam Estrella Type F, is fucking awesome. Like, look, I can actually go back and look at its development now, and I can see that that's a Type F. So yeah, being able to go up a chain like that is awesome. It reminds me of, like, Digivolution from the Digimon games that I played recently. Also, if you're wondering why I've got 3 105 Slaughter Daggers, it's because I captured them all in battle, and I felt like a Strike Noir leading 3 105 Slaughter Daggers felt really appropriate. I don't know why, I just thought it did. I don't plan on evolving these because they don't really seem to turn into much better. Like, look at those stats. And I just love the way the Slaughter Dagger looks, so I'm fine with just leveling it up and getting its stat increases that way. So you can carry 4 of these groups, which is nice. Here's my second group down here. This Abyss Gundam. I don't know how the fuck I got this, but this is one of the best Gundams I have for some reason. Look at these attack powers. Look at these abilities. Like, look at this. Reduces damage from physical weapons. Enables use of the transform command. This is even without any modifications. This is just dumb. This is dumb powerful. Dummy powerful. And you can get to shit like this from even the most random grunts. Like, so CQ, for example. Wrong screen. I can develop that into a Guai's, and just look, it just gets a massive stat boost, and then that'll eventually be able to be developed into something else. Even something like the Sky Grasper can turn into a proper Gundam when it levels up enough. And not to mention that, it's a decent Gundam as well. Because those stats, those are some good stats. We might actually be able to demonstrate that. Just a regular CU, we can turn it into that as well, just for the bonuses. An Overflag at level 9 can turn into a Union Flag Custom, which is Graham's Gundam from the series. Frankly, no reason not to. And one of my personal favorites, I'm not very familiar with the Gundam, I'm not very familiar with Gundam lore. I haven't seen a few of these series. Like the most I've seen is a couple of episodes of Wing and a couple of episodes of Iron-Blooded Orphans. So, seeing that I was able to develop this random thing, which I've never seen before, into Gundam Sandrocks, just out of fucking nowhere, no questions asked. Yes, please. Whoops. I did not mean to. To be fair, I should probably put them, like, onto a proper team, because look at that! Look at that! 300 defense, that's ridiculous. Also, they have tons of, like, defense and further reduces damage when just defending, which is actually a really nice touch. But yeah, being able to just pull Gundam Sandrocks out of my ass is immensely satisfying, and that was also one of the fun bits of the originals as well. Also, you get some really funny, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Why do I have 2 gold frames that have different display pictures? That's bizarre. But sometimes you can get some really funny, like, mythology gags. Like a Tool Geese with Zex riding in it. Feels a bit weird to me personally. Can I, enhance? Not enhance. Can I develop this into something else? I can make it a Tall Geese 2 with slightly better stats, or a Tall Geese F with slightly less better stats. What's the weapons on this? 32, 38, and 39 versus the current 32, 38, and 39. So, it would still be decent. But still. Right. So, just for the purpose of demonstration, I'm actually going to swap these. No, hang on, I'm going to move these. So, can I actually move this into somewhere cooler? Yeah, you can take along a Sandrock, because I want to take the opportunity to show off 3D animations as much as possible. And we'll move this Abyss Gundam up as well to demonstrate that, just so I have a really good team going of some really fun Gundams. Hang on, yeah, you can take the times color. Actually, hang on. We'll move Zex up there as well. See, we got a Gundam Australia Type F, a Gold Frame Astray, a Sandrock, an Abyss Gundam, 3 105 Slaughter Daggers, and a Strike Noir. Also, just for the fun of it, how about a Barbatos and a Gundam Astray Blue Frag? Because why the fuck not? Like, this is what they want you to do. They want you to make these ridiculous compositions of intensely good teams and just have fun with it. That's what they want you to do. And I love that shit. I love the concept. I love everything about it. We'll put the Slaughter Daggers back here, although they'll have this annoying tendency to... Actually, I have a lot of capital. I could make this another warship group if I wanted to. Now, I have to demonstrate how raid groups work in an actual battle, so that will not happen, unfortunately. No, let's not move. Let's... Actually, no, can I enhance you into something a little more... Develop you into something a little more useful? The Magnac, which can go into the Sandrock. Not doing too much for me there, I must admit. So... Actually, I think we'll be fine with just those 8. Like, I don't really see any mission that can stop this sort of team with these guys just as backup. Because, like, why not at this rate, right? Oh, and the Vertibuster! I forgot I had the Vertibuster. Right, let's swap you out for the Vertibuster. Forgot I bought you, I apologize. There we go. Can I like, get myself a better ship as well? So, right. We formed our group, and also you can take along, SFSs, which are... You know what? Sure, I'll make him even more overpowered than his fucking Tall Geese. We'll just send along a SFS as well. Basically, they're just things you can stand on and hop off, and you get a little bit of extra movement out of them too, so he can move like 13 spaces in one turn if he likes, because screw everything, right? I have money. Screw the rules, I have money. Right, we'll swap out and we'll produce a new ship. Nope, we can't. We can't afford it. Because look at that. Even the least expensive ships cost 180 grand. And a lot of these ships have really bad stats, even in comparison to the other ships that we've got. So, that's not great. At least I actually upgraded my carry base with a piece of equipment that lets me keep like 2 warship teams on, because that's a really useful thing to have. 2 warship teams, and they are currently filled with ridiculous amounts of Gundams. So you can also produce individual Gundams as well. The Abyss Gundam is the best thing I've got for some reason. But yeah, you can produce anything that you have either owned or managed to fill up the get meter in battle with, which is cool. You can also produce warships and SFSs. I know this stands for something like Standard Flight System or something like that, but I'd be lying if I said I knew for sure. You can also make modifications. So being able to make like add-on armors. Like 10,000 HP in this game is a big deal. Like that seriously makes you a bit of a tank. It makes you a real tank. And I'm really tempted to buy 1 or 2 of those to make my unit better, but I don't think I can really afford it right now. You can also do like you can also combine 2 units together, which is a bizarre concept. I'm not entirely sure how this works, because as you can see, the only two things that's going to let me put together are the Blue Frame and the Abyss Gundam, which I do not want to do. Yeah, I assume if I press all designs, it's going to be like, oh, right, yeah. Gundam Astray Blue Frame Scale System. Interesting concept. I'm not very interested, but thanks for the opportunity. That is a thing you can do. You can also just sell them off, if you like. Just, you know, like, pick one and exchange it, and that'll be a thing. And you can also enhance them as well, same way through here. And you can also organize your captures. Now, your captures are interesting. We'll get to them very shortly, because we need to go and talk about the other things. I've been here for 25 minutes already. But your captures are not only used to capture in the field, but things you get from the new deployment system, which we'll go into, as I said, very shortly. You can, of course, also train characters. You remind me of Sid from Final Fantasy... No, Sydney from Final Fantasy 15. You can also create custom characters. If you're wondering what the name is, this is the name of my Final Fantasy 14 character. Man, I'm bringing up Final Fantasy a lot today. And they also have like their own skills and all that are determined by their birth date and blood type, which is cool. And you also unlock extra characters from the individual series when you successfully beat the levels for them. And like, look at this guy's stats. This is like ridiculously good for a starter pilot, so that is like something you might want to consider if you've got a unit, a really strong unit you want to put with a really strong thing. You can also do things like add character abilities to characters by either killing certain enemies on the field or killing them with a special guy, which will send them to your thing. Well, trust me, this will make more sense when I actually get around to playing it. You can also view the gallery, which has plenty of things on things like suits and stuff like that. You can also see some of the event movies, and just for the purpose of demonstration, I'd like to show you at least one of these, just in case you don't come across one in the mission I plan on playing. I already went past Stargazer. I want to do Stargazer because I like Stargazer. There it is. It's so pretty. Like, it legitimately looks a step above what G Generation Genesis was. Everything looks like this. This might be a pre-rendered scene, but considering what the actual animations look like in the actual game, you could believe those weren't pre-rendered. They were just done completely in engine. They look fantastic. And yeah, you can also see like playtime. I just passed 8 hours. Woohoo! And yeah, Turtle Sage's played 7. But thankfully, I have registered 6% of the quests, 20% of the profiles, and just yeah, it all makes sense in the long run. Background music settings, which I don't really feel the need to change because, frankly, I love it whenever I go over Jack's unit and starts playing his music. I just find it to be funny. Not funny in any particular reason, I just think it's a laugh. So, this game also works on the quest system from G Generation Genesis. You get an absolute ton of things to do in all sorts of different relations to, well, everything really. But yeah, you unlock bonuses by finishing things like missions, you register mobile suits, you beat stages, you beat them by doing their special objectives, and you get the rewards for them, whether it be the pilots, the suits, some special equipment for you to use, stuff along those lines, you know, right? Why does this girl have cat ears? It's Japan, I really shouldn't be asking that question. So, group dispatch is something that you've actually added recently to this game, which, ooh, you're an ugly looking mofo, aren't you? But yes, dispatch missions are something new they've added to this game. And basically, it's a mobile feature, more or less. You send out a group on dispatch, you send out one of your 4 groups on dispatch, and after the time limit runs out, they come back, you get items, you get weapons, you get Gundams, you get money, and you get experience. So, it's great for just... It's also always online. which is a massive pain in the neck, because if the servers ever go down, you can't do this anymore. And this is great for like an early game boost, where if you need just that little bit of extra money and XP on a guy in order to like successfully like level them up to a point where you can develop them into a next-gen Gundam, well, yeah, you can't do that if you're offline, unfortunately. But at least it's a nice feature, because you can, if you know you're not going to be playing the game for a while, say you're about to go to sleep, or you're planning on playing another game for a bit, or something like that, you can come in here, you can put all of your groups into different missions, and then when you come back, you'll have like tons of XP, a few suits you can sell off, and just some other stuff like that. So when you open up one, it'll give you things like how long it'll take, some extra like little bonuses here that'll help your operation achievement rate, and you can also use cooldown items. You unlock these as a bonus through the game. You cannot buy these yet, they are not in-game DLC. You can just use them outright. You get them, that's it, and you can use them, and each one will take half an hour off the time. And when you put a group in, it'll tell you how likely they are to finish the mission. So if I put this group in here, my main group, which we're not going to do, you get 32% completion rate. Then you can also go to another mission and see how well it does there. So here it's going to get a 78% completion rate. Now, this doesn't mean that your mission stands a chance of failing. It just means that you'll have a lesser chance of getting the better rewards, and you'll also get a lower portion of the rewards. So the maximum here is 25k, right? But if I go at a 78% operation achievement rate, it'll only give me 78% of the XP, so I'll only get like 20,000 experience points. So if you're like in the 80s or something like that, you might as well do it, because you'll still get a fair amount of stuff, and you're still able to get things like extra mobile suits off it, and you can generally get an idea of what suit you're going to get, depending on the, like, say, the guy in the background there, for example. And there are plenty of these going on, like the Daily Sea Patrol, which gets refreshed every time. Tuesday Training, which also gets refreshed every day. But there are also ones you unlock throughout the game, so the more quests that you do, the more stuff that you will eventually unlock. So we're not actually going to send... Actually, we probably should, just for the purpose of demonstration. Alright, so let's do something that we're sure that the Group 4 can do, because I want Group 4 because I know I can upgrade my suit from him. So they've got a 67% there, but 100% there, so we might as well do that. Damn, right, we might as well go do this one then, because we've got 100% achievement rate, so we'll do that. So once we've done that, we can check our dispatch status from here. They've come back immediately, so we can open up our dispatch report, and it'll tell me how they did. Experience, everybody gets some levels, including some stats. We've got a special antenna, mood maker, and tank operator. I believe those are skills. And that's how that works. You can just do that over and over again. Like I took to the effort of only playing 1 or 2 stages at a time, and then putting everything on dispatches, and then coming back later, getting those rewards, building up my forces, and then going back on another mission. You could probably get used to a pretty good cycle like that if you felt up to it. And now that this guy's level 8... Fuck, he needs to be level 9. Damn it. Okay. Alright, I won't keep you waiting any longer. I'm just doing one last double check. Right. These guys are going to need some pilots. Rachel Ransom, Kay Nimrod. Nimrod. I'm not even going to try to do a Bugs Bunny voice, even though I just did. You Nimrod. Oh, what a buffoon. Fits me to a T, in all honesty. So, let's go and play some story mode, shall we? Let's not keep you waiting any longer. So, we're going to play Stage 3 of Gundam Wing. Because it's got Zex playing around here. We have 6 units that we can capture, so, you know, good set of potential units. And it's ground and atmospheric, and all my stuff should be decent enough for that. Actually, that's a good question. Is all my stuff good enough for that? I really should have checked. Hang on. Okay, I'm an idiot. Let's just go do this again, shall we? I'm gonna put this on auto for a bit, and I'm gonna talk over the top of it, because here's the thing about the way they portray the stories in this and Genesis. There is a narrator going on in the background here, but that's the only voice you will hear until the actual mission starts, which is really strange to me, honestly, because there are a lot of lines. They do like visual novel segments with just backgrounds and little character art in the bottom left, and you would think they'd go to the effort of having character voices in there, especially considering they have character voices almost everywhere else in the game. Whether it be little things of them talking to each other when they're getting into a fight or stuff like that, right? But for whatever reason, they just decided not to do it for the visual novel segments, and so it ends up being a... I should turn down the auto speed to like 3, but yeah, it feels awfully silent and underwhelming. Reading the story, basically, not even listening to it, just reading it from this, when it was all based on an anime, so you would think they'd go to some effort, but then again, maybe Gundam Wing is owned and licensed by someone else, because it's really freaking weird, if I'm being honest, the whole Gundam licensing thing. It's mainly the reason why we didn't get games like Gundam Breaker 3 and SD Gundam G Generation Genesis here in the, well, the West, really, legally, because it was like, the licenses were so obscure and all over the place that it just wasn't worth the money. They were just like, you know, we'll translate it, and then we'll release it, like, physically, and you can import it if you want to. And, well, I did. That was cool. But yes, the way they tell the stories in these is pretty much exactly the same as it was in SD Gundam G Generation Genesis, where they do a really, like, quick overview of the entire story from point to point between the fights. And they have basically none of the depth to them. It's so quick that it feels like an abridged series that's not properly abridged and kind of cuts out some of the important stuff. You have a very light idea of what's going on at the very best if you haven't seen these series before. As I said before, I've seen a couple of episodes of Gundam Wing and Iron-Blooded Orphans. I haven't seen anywhere near as much in comparison to the Universal Century stuff, i.e., you know, like, 79, Unicorn, Zeta, what have you, but I've seen enough of them to know that it basically seems like the same thing. I'm not going to claim that it might, like, fall apart later on, because at the pace that I take these games, it will take me hours upon hours to figure out if they ever screwed that up, but basically, from the very beginning, it seems about the same. And here comes the visual novel section. At least the art is nice. Hey, Sandrock. Actually, to be fair, it does kind of make sense, doesn't it? Like, this is the Ragnarok Corps, they're led by the Sandrock, so you can develop the Ragnarok into the Sandrock. That makes actually perfect sense. Just those little touches are really fun, really nice to play around with. It really is a shame that they couldn't get, like, all of the series into one game. I imagine it would be a massive amount of effort, like, considering they only have room to put, like, 4 individual series in this one, but, you know, I'll give them a little bit of a break. I can understand why it might be a bit of a pain in the neck. But yeah, as you can see, it's just text, so if I put the auto speed up to 4, it actually starts going so fast that the longer paragraphs don't have time to be read, which is kind of funny to me, honestly, but that's just how it goes, isn't it? Admittedly, though, it's really nice to be able to buy this on Steam, because, well, it's really nice to be able to buy this on Steam, especially considering that they had Super Robot Wars X come out on Steam recently. I would have bought it in a heartbeat, because, you know, would have been nice to have, but it's region locked. And not region locked in the sense that you can just buy it, get someone from Japan to buy it for you and then gift it to you. No, it is super region locked. You can't get it if you are outside of any of the pre-approved regions at all. No questions asked. It is really, really frustrating, if I'm being perfectly honest, because Super Robot Wars, I think, would actually have a pretty big audience here. Especially since there are still a fair few, like, you know, giant robot fans, but, well, at least we can say something along the lines of, if you like SD Gundam G Generation Cross Rays, go pirate, at least you can say, go pirate Super Robot Wars, you'll like that too. I love it. It looks ridiculous. Is that a toilet brush on its head? No, that's not a toilet brush. What would that be? A magnet. Someone went to the effort of bending a magnet. Now I've got the image of Bender. Bending Rodriguez doing the bending of that one giant piece of metal and then just slamming it down on his head, brushing his hands. All done. Drinks beer. Still, the SD Gundams are still adorable. I don't know why everyone hates these things so much. They play it entirely seriously in these series, and I just think that makes them all the more awesome. So I'm really surprised by the fact that they managed to get so much hate. It's depressing. I have so many SD Gundams in my cupboard that I still haven't managed to get around to putting together, and by the time I do, I imagine that I will have all of them just in this room, on every shelf, on all my monitors, under my monitors, just on my tower, just looking up at me for the day that they eventually come to life and stab me to death with 1,000 tiny beam sabers. You might notice I'm stalling for time with incredibly random subjects because this is just how long the cutscenes are in this game. I started skipping them after a while because, as I said, they're just really minimalistic retellings of the stories to the point where they start leaving stuff out. Thankfully, we're pretty close to where we need to be because I saw after the jump cut that I did that Mr. Zex and Lucreza are the ones we are playing this time, so we'll be seeing them very shortly. You can tell that you're playing them because the bar next to them has gone blue, which is a little bizarre because you get used to them being like the enemy and then it's like, oh, you get to play as these guys now. And it's like, huh? Excuse me? A little bit strange, but okay. And yes, you also get things like those little cutaway scenes there that have them talking to you, and they're cool. They fit the theme. And so, I'm guessing the objective is going to be either kill everything or occupy the building. Well, they didn't last very long, and neither did they. You call yourselves Marble Suit pilots. Oh look, turrets. And their own mobile suits. What's next? The kitchen sink? The Sunk Kingdom. For a moment there I read that as Sanic, but anyway, here we go. Alright, can you destroy all beam turrets within 4 turns? Honestly, I'm probably going to want to. What's the range on it? 2 to 6. And they've got 15,000 HP and 200 defense. Jesus. We're going to need to pull out all the stops to get them. So, this usually happens. Your first battle is with the units that they want you to keep safe throughout the entire thing. And notably, I have the tall geese already, so you don't even get to see how that works. But these guys usually regain a stupid amount of health and energy at the end of each turn, so you don't have to worry about them dying very much. It's quite useful. So we're just going to move the tall geese ahead and get our first attack in. So we have different attacks we can use for different ranges. They all take different amounts of energy, and well, let me just put it this. Oh, we can't even do it on these ones because they we can't do it for these units because they don't have, what's it called? They aren't actually mobile suits, they're just regular old units. They're just things on the ground that they don't like us attacking. So we can do a raid attack now. And I still can't use the battle animation. So this unit is a raid unit. I didn't explain how the raid and the warship units work specifically, but I can explain how they work now-ish. So you might have seen when I was moving them that I had a little ground of yellow and green squares around them when I was moving their individual units. So raid units share the ability to heal each other's HP and energy over the course of multiple turns. So, can I counter this? I can. I just want to make sure this thing is dead as fast as humanly possible. Good night. And everything else just stops dead unless it's come towards it. Alright. So we come back to our Tall Geese and the Ares. Well, the Ares has taken a bit more damage than I would have hoped, but the Tall Geese, despite taking like 6,000 damage, still managed to heal up a ton of health. So this is basically just a sort of get used to the mobile suit sort of mission that we got going on here. So we'll attack the Ares, and I'll show you a 3D battle animation. Yes! It's very pretty. It's impressively pretty. It's a really nice thing to look at. And look at my frame rate counter in the top right there. I'm still managing to maintain about 200 frames, although I'm pretty sure this is still like internally clocked at 60. But yeah, you don't have to watch them all the time. You can just choose to skip them if you like. And there is probably an option somewhere for you to be like, oh, I can, yeah, let's just make sure this guy dies with the highest possible. Cool. So he's dead. And he gets another attack, because one of the major rules in this series is if you successfully manage to kill an enemy, you get an extra turn. Up to 3 turns in most cases. And then we can do a raid link up, which involves multiple units being close enough to each other they can all lock onto multiple enemy units. And then you can send them to fight each other as a sort of... what's the word I'm looking for? Then you can send them to fight each other as a big batch attack that will do a ton of damage. If you get like 6 of your units versus 6 of their units, most grunts will go down in one shot. And there's also an achievement in this game for locking onto 9 units and taking out 9 enemy units with it. So yeah, we did pretty well there. 9,000 damage. That makes those guys hurt. So yeah, they are blinking. And when they blink, that means they are at half health or lower. And we'll just let them do what they see fit to do. So we can counter this if we like, and we're going to, because fuck this guy. And you can see the overall percentages up here, their power and their abilities. So for example, Explosion, if it hits, it will do a guaranteed extra 500 damage, just flat, which is a nice ability to have when you're fighting against something that has like beam armor and most of your units fire out beam attacks. So you... a bit of a pain in the neck, I gotta admit, but yeah, when you can do just an extra 500 flat damage on top, it's actually pretty damn useful. Alright, so that's done. So we have 2 more turns to take out the other beam turrets. What should I do here? How are you doing? You're doing pretty good. Alright, we'll move you up for a melee attack on the turret. You don't have melee attacks, right. You can move to here, and we'll get you to... we'll have you missile attack that. I have missed the shot with 90% accuracy before on a turret that was standing stock fucking still. I was so mad. I'll move you down there, and now I can hit this thing from long range as well. Just to get as much of a hit on it as I can. I probably could have moved them close to get counter attacks and maybe actually gotten the challenge condition done. It's entirely possible that... am I still in range? of this thing. 2 to 6. Wish I could see its actual range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah. So we're still in range of both turrets, which means they should both take a swing at me. And I was right. So I can't even counter that though. Fuck. Right. We'll support defend with the tall geese. So when you've got a similar unit next to you, you can have them take the hit for you, just to keep his health out of the red. And also he can also just like evade it. And if he doesn't, that's when the defensive damage comes through. So that's kind of annoying. I don't actually get the Oh, right. Oh, I can get support. I'll take the support. So we can also support attack. So we're going to do that. So the regular attack, the support attack goes out first, then the attack from the other unit goes out second, and it also doesn't mean that he hasn't spent his turn, he's just spent energy. So combining these two things together is a really good idea, because once you do... Damn! One freaking step, man. One freaking step. I think we'll finalize that. So now, he can move up, hit the attack. Oh, we can do a raid link up, actually. How much damage will that do to the turret? Probably not enough. But we'll do it anyway. Alright, so... Unless I can magically counter that thing twice, I don't think I'm getting that challenge mission. Which is... unfortunate. How you doing, Tall Geese? Counter with your Beam Saber. Counter with your Dover Gun Shot. The Tall Geese is an amazing suit, and you will not tell me otherwise, because seriously, it dodges everything. It is immensely good in the early stages of the game. So his morale's gone up, which is a nice touch. We'll just evade, we won't worry about the support dodge, right? So the turn is, we've lost the challenge mission unfortunately, but this means these guys get to suffer for their bullshit. Unfortunately, I can't lock onto more than 2 units at once, but, well, I can still wipe the floor with you, and your morale goes up whenever you lean hits and dodge hits, and it goes down whenever you get hit or miss hits. So, when you do it enough, you get supercharged, which turns all your attacks into super criticals, which means you do an absolute ton of damage, and if you chain up your attacks in the exact right way, you can have this tear just a path across the field and just wipe the floor with anything that so much as looks at you funny. This is also the best way to actually unlock units for proper usage in the game, because doing this means that you can get an absolute ton of get energy so that you can unlock the unit for production in your store. So yeah, now he's super high, and he's on his final chance steps, so let's move him down and get an attack in on one of these bastards. Unfortunately, that means I lose. Oh no, I'm still on super high, so I'm about to go to... Yeah, he's supercharged. Got it. So let's just pass. And we will definitely be countering that bullshit. Because I've still got criticals on me. Yeah, it'll be fine. General good rule of thumb in this game is to make the following assumption. If your to-hit percentage is about, like, what's the word I'm looking for? We're just going to move this guy down here. We're going to finalize him so that we can do a raid link up on these two. But yeah, a good way to go about percentages in this game is, if it's over 50%, assume that you stand a decent chance of getting hit all the time. If you are below 50%, there's a... It's like really good chance they'll miss. Like, seriously. most under 50% miss. And look, there's no text here. There's no audio here. Which is annoying. So that was just the intro mission, which I actually appreciate because it gives you an opportunity to get used to suits. Not to mention, since you have to do them in order to get through to the mission proper, although you can actually skip to the mission proper once you have successfully completed the mission. But it does give you an opportunity to also get a bunch of get levels, which is nice. They all look like Char. They all look like Char. They are all dressed like Char. They are Char. Kind of hilarious in Unicorn's case when you think about it, but well. Also, I find it hilarious that it seems like people who are going to war a lot have the name Peacecraft. They have some weird names in Gundam, man. Like, you might have seen it, like, pretty shortly beforehand, but one of the stage names is a suit named Geminas. And I don't know why you're doing rectal examinations with a piece of jewelry, but that's a thing that you can do in Gundam? I don't know why they named it that. Then again, there is also that absolutely hilarious misprint of one of Char's mobile suits from Zeta Gundam, where his name's supposed to be Quattro Vagina, but they misspelt it Quattro Vagina. I promise you this actually exists. There is images of it on the internet. Also, kind of hilarious. 4 sets of women's genitals. I will at least say that the story is told with a slight more bit of depth than G Generation Genesis. You get a little bit more to it, but it's still not enough to really be particularly better. You're here for the gameplay and not much else, unless you are like a really big fan of any of these individual series. You're probably not going to get what's going on. And that's the hour mark. It's going to be a little bit shorter for you because I still have to cut out those few minutes I accidentally spent double checking my team, but, well, that's a thing. So we've gone back to the wing protagonists being the number ones, so being the blues. So we all know that they're going to be the people we play with this time around. That also probably means we're going up against the Tallgeese, so it's going to be all of the guys from Wing plus Zex and the Tallgeese versus, most likely, Zex and the Tallgeese. See what I mean by mythology gag? I just find it hilarious. Completely unrelated, I was just reminded of the fact that, what's his bloody name from Zeta Gundam, the protagonist? His name's Camille or something like that, because his mother was the worst possible way you could have portrayed a mother by making her really, really annoying. And it was funny because as soon as they shattered the glass that she was in, this is like first, second episode at most, so don't worry about it, it's not a spoiler, but it's amazing how I had absolutely no care for the woman once I actually killed her off. Okay, we're back on the flat 2D background. Oh look, sand rocks. Or sand rock, I should say. Death Scythe. Death Scythe is probably my favourite wingsuit. Although I'd have to go and play, Endless Waltz to get the suit that I actually like, which is the Death Scythe Hell. Although I think that's actually like that actual version of the suit there. It's the regular Death Scythe, but painted black, I think. Oh look, it's the let's see, Heavy Arms, isn't it? I think it's Heavy Arms. There's a lot of names, man. Lots of names of suits. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. It's just people fighting each other. Oh, there's the Gundam wing. Oh, no, here we go. So what's that other map? Oh look, we get 2 maps. Wonderful. Hang on, we'll just back out of this first. So, we got A and B there, and if I go to the other map... Oh, that's just him by himself against like 5 jets and 9 suits. Okay. A little bit more boring than I would have hoped for. Alright, so yeah, they're in the air above this, and we're controlling the Sand Rocks and the Death Scythe against all of these dudes. Well, I've already got the Sand Rock and the Maganak, so we just want to get through the Death Scythe and... Oh, and the Heavy Arms down there too. That's a lot of fucking dudes. We're going to be here a long time. Alright, let's do this. So, we have 2 slots that we can deploy to. I don't know why they let you have 4 groups unless it's meant to be for something like, well, there might be battles later on that let you deploy 4 groups, and the pace of that game is going to be incredibly slow. Alright. Warship 1, and the next is going to have to be one of our raid groups. How many of our group do we actually get to bring out on this one? We get to bring out 5. Okay, so... I don't want to leave the Slaughter Daggers behind because I love the Slaughter Daggers, so... we'll bring along 1 Slaughter Dagger. Dagger. Slaughter Dagger. So we've got the Slaughter Dagger, the Gold Frame, the Siskreed Titan's Color, the Virgo, and another Gold Frame. Sweet. So we've got like 16 units on the field right now. This is going to get interesting. Right, System Command. We can also see the list of... we can also see the sortie list again. Annoyingly, you can't get to the System Command menu unless you're on a space with nobody on it. It's a shame there's no like keyboard combination you can do to bring that menu up immediately, but okay. So here we go. Can you destroy all the transport units within 4 turns? So my guess is that we're just meant to be like a decoy force, and considering that all of these units here, except for like that guy and that guy, considering that these guys are all red exclamation points, my guess is that we need to destroy the transport units as fast as humanly possible, because everybody else is going to get bared down on, and if we don't, we're just going to get our shit kicked in. So we'll start up here. Gundam Wing, move as far forward as we can, and open up with the Buster Rifle. Because why not? He probably gets an absolute ton of, he'll probably get a ton of, like, health and energy back as he goes. These are just regular Aries. Easy. Alright. So we'll go back down to the ground, and first thing we're going to do is we're going to try and get everybody together, just so that all the enemies will be circling in on one thing. How are these guys? They've got heat tomahawks. Let's watch the animation, just to see 2 grunt suits fighting each other. The Leo ground type versus the Maganak. The Maganaka. I guarantee you that's what we'd call it. The Maganaka. So they just traded blows. Fair enough. They're probably going to die real fucking quick. There's not much I can really do about it. I mean, they are a raid group, so if I kept them like really close together, it would probably keep them alive, but not for long enough, and they're not really worth the effort to keep around, so... We're just going to bum rush everyone in as fast as humanly possible and hope for the best. I apologize for skipping the voice lines. It's just become voice of habit. Alright, so he gets to move again, which is what I wanted, because now I can move him down with the Death Scythe, and we can keep him nice and close. Those 2 up there are probably going to get the wrath of all 8 dudes surrounding them, but there's not much I can really do about that. So, let's focus on getting the heavy arms through the bullshit. Actually, we'll cancel that. We want to get the heavy arms as close to this as possible. So, Death Scythe, can you actually... What do you do? You have a lot of attack strength, and it probably won't be enough to be taking down these dudes in one shot. So, I guess we'll use our gold frames to start the real fight going on here. Actually, can I move him in such a way that'll let me attack him without him being able to hit me back? That I can. Well, it still hurt him. That's very good. We're going to do that with this guy as well. We'll move him a little bit forward because he's kind of the tank. 13,000 health. That's a... Oh, yeah. I don't want to do that. We'll do an attack with... We'll attack this guy then. 6.4k. One of this guy's pilot skills is that he has enough marksmanship to just give him a little bit of extra damage on top, which I love. Very useful. Right, Virgo. You can move down here. And yeah, use that beam cannon of yours. We'll just punch a hole in him. Cool. Gold frame again. We'll move you close, just so that you can beat the ever-loving bejesus out of anything that might get too close to our ship, because if our ship goes down, that's a instant game over. Yeah, okay, we'll move. Actually, no, the ship is actually pretty good where it is. I think I'll just, like, move it slightly close to the center. We can also hit stuff from this distance, but we're not going to. That's the Death Scythe's job. Because the Death Scythe is going to move out now. Beam Scythe. That motherfucker. Whew, Nelly. The explosions and the smoke just look fantastic. It's a really pretty looking game. It's a whole shame that the game couldn't be like 3D like this. Along the lines of something like Utawara Ramono, but considering the amount of unique suits, effects and stuff you have going out, I can understand it. Not to mention that Super Robot Wars has basically been doing the same thing for like 20 odd years at this point, and no one cares about that, so... Good night, kaboom. Alright. Slaughter Dagger. We're just gonna move him close to here, because if he goes out on his own for too long, he will get slaughtered. He's still a grunt unit. He's a cool grunt unit, but he's still a grunt unit, so we can't really risk him just yet. I do have to replace these goddamn mobile suits, you know. Because if you lose a unit, they do get destroyed. It isn't like, oh, I'll just go back to base and you can help me out again. No, that unit will be destroyed. The only way you'll be able to get that back is by quitting before the battle is over, or losing, and then having to redo the battle, at which point you'll get all your guys back. With that said, everybody out. So we've got Mr. Tall Geese himself. You can take a shot at him, and we'll leave you on the SFS. Does that actually add to the animation? Aw, it doesn't. That's a shame. Would have been cute if it did, but that's okay. See, look at his health. Look at the health of my Tall Geese. 18,600 points. It can take so much damage. It is legitimately like the best suit that I've got at the moment. The Gundam Australia Type F. Show me what Barrage looks like, why don't ya? Nice. Alright, who's next? This is another one of the gold frames. Okay. So, yeah, you can take a long-range shot at this guy. We won't bother showing the animation for this one, but the explode, 500 flat damage, no problems with me for that one. So, yeah. The warship unit. is self-contained. It just does its own thing, and so does the raid unit. They don't really come together in the... Actually, no. Let's not melee him, but we'll get him out just on the front line just to be safe. But yeah, the units don't usually interact with each other. Not in the grand scheme. Right, what can you hit? Pretty much everything. So you will hit him. Cool. I'm gonna sort you out the Strike Noir. My favorite little darling. Can you hit anything that isn't already half dead? I guess not. No, I don't want to take that chance. I want to leave as many of these standing as possible. The Gundam Barbatos, which can only melee, so how about this? We'll send him up next to the Sandrock. We'll see what happens there. Gundam Astray Blue Frame. Not the best on movement, so I guess you'll just have to wait there. And there's the Verda Buster. Look at that weapon name. M9009B, composite bayonet equipped beam rifle, high power 2-tube launcher. Oh yeah, piercing damage also acts as if a certain amount of the enemy's defensive stat wasn't there. Look at it, it's also beautiful. Also, when we get the ability to do a giant raid attack, it's gonna fucking sting. Right, that should be everything that we have, right? So yeah, if I go to the system command here, there's a few things we can do. You can see the mission objectives, the backlog of the speech that's been shown. You can see a list of all your units, all the guest units, including the heavy arms, who we haven't actually acted with yet. Alright, yeah, we'll just we'll keep him up here. He's fine. He doesn't actually need to go much further than that, considering that he's got his built-in story healing abilities. Yeah, we can also see the list of quests, abilities, what we've captured so far, the tutorial stuff. We can also do things like show the HP and energy, which will actually be kind of useful in this kind of clusterfuck. Hold abilities, the enemy's hold ability. Right, so it's the ability that they hold once you destroy them. Your stats here. Are we about to hit? Yep, we're about to hit 9 hours. Good lord. Background music configuration. And you can save and load, so you can do a stage suspend and then come back to it later, but if you go out on another mission or do a group dispatch, it'll delete all of those, so you'll basically lose everything that was going on there. So, you know, it makes sense. You can't go into a mission and then take that same mission out on a dispatch and then reload the mission. That doesn't make any sense. So that should be everything. And now we get to watch them work. All like 50 of them. This is going to be fun. Right, we could counter this, but I think it's a better idea to evade, just to keep as much of my energy as possible. Cool. Oh look, the transports are moved up. This actually works to my advantage. He stands a decent chance of evading. I could take a shot back, but let's see if we can keep these guys alive. Just for a small length of time. Oh, that's a Sandrock. Can we? Nope, we don't have the range for anything. So yep, that's the built-in Sandrock, not our story Sandrock. You can tell story units apart by their light blue coloring. The warship is a slightly darker blue, and the raids are like almost purple. All right, so that one's dead. Man, that one has a really easy time on his hands, man. Alright, yeah, you can evade. You can take care of that. That's fine. That's the Sandrock from my guys. We'll just avoid that one too. We will avoid that one as well. We will definitely counter this. Dead. Boom. Yep, meter please. Thank you. It's just a little bit, but every little bit helps. Alright, it's our turn again. Things like the raid groups being near each other kicks in. One of my units over here has like her automatic healing thing stuck to them, which is why I popped up with them for a second. You can turn those down to be slower. I just have them be that quick for the purpose of, like, you know, having battles not take 2 hours each time. There's the pinpoint shot. Big things like this have pinpoint shots, which means that you can do a ton of damage when you hit them. Unfortunately, I can only do 1 shot, which is actually kind of annoying. But that is... No, let's not pass. We need to do everything on the ground first. Oh boy, right. We'll move the Death Scythe over to... Actually, no, we shouldn't move them just yet. Let's use some more Gundam trickery, shall we? You've got a beam lance, a beam cannon, and a barrel cannon. Show me that beam lance. Brand freeze. Ah, that's gonna sting. Oh, actually hit me back. Good on you, little soldier. Sandrock. No, I can actually hit him with Cross Crusher. Nice, so... Show me what a Cross Crusher looks like, Sandrock. Ooh, that hit like a truck. Ooh, he's fighting back. Come on, Sandrock, you can do it. Yay, he dodged. There are 13,000 hit points. Nice and safe. Okay, Gundam straight gold frame. If I move you here, now you can hit him with one of two different kinds of weapons. We'll go for the one that adds a little bit of bonus damage on top. So yeah, a lot of these guys are hurting. So I think it's time to get the Death Scythe in there to be doing some of that business. Dead. A little bit more on the get meter. Gets another opportunity, which he can use to get over here. And another attack. And he goes supercharged, which means it's going to hit even harder. And that's the end of that chapter. Any skills would be useful here right now? We could do return if we needed to, but not something that's actually pretty useful, any use to us right now. So let's move him a little bit. We can do a no, we're not going to do a warship link up from here. We're not close enough. Okay, Vertibuster. If I move you here, you actually can hit these. All right, we'll hit them. Just to try and convince them to actually work their way over here. Nope, you can't hit anything from there. What about there? Nope. We're just gonna sit there and be useless? Okay. Heavy arms, you might as well go in there and start throwing punches. Probably should have showed off that animation, but that's okay. Oh man, that's gotta sting a little. My raid group. Time to show off another relatively useful feature called Move All. And when you move all... Whoops. Actually, we'll do it from this guy. We'll just move him straight in this direction. And we'll get him to attack this guy on the very edge. So if you do a move all, and there are certain members of the group, it's usually related to the raid or warship group, but they'll usually all move in that general direction, which is very useful for getting them like towards something relatively quickly. Let's see. We still got the tall geese here. Can I move him to anywhere he'll be more useful? Up in the north, I suppose. I have a bad feeling about what's going to happen in the next few turns once we get those transports down, but well, we'll see that sooner rather than later, won't we? Beat the crap out of him, please. And we'll move this guy over here to try and tempt those guys into moving. We'll just finalize that. Not much else we can do if we want to keep the Death Scythe rolling in units to use. So we'll just move these guys over here and just finalize them. Sure, why not? I already moved up here, right? I did. Very slow pacing these games. This is going to be like a 2-hour video. My god. Alright. System command, pass. Evade that attack. You can do it. That kind of stings a little. Come on, little dude, you can do it. Oh no, he's not going to be able to do it, is he? I mean, there is such a thing as luck, and there's just such a thing as just overwhelming force when you have like 8 other dudes surrounding you. You just kind of got to give up at this point, right? This poor bastard. Counter. Yeah, screw it. We'll just let him stab back and just beat the shit out of it. I just want the death side. That's what I want. Why are they all shooting for the sand rock? Don't shoot at the sand rock. That's mean. That's really mean. Wow, a counter critical and just he's dead. Yeah, just use that cannon, that's fine. Beat them all within an inch of their life and then suck on their own trail. Slaughter Dagger. Oh yeah, counter support, let's do that. Let's just, let's show this guy what it means to fuck with these guys. Good job, Rachel. You're a new pilot, but you're working out pretty well. Whoop, that stung him. Stop, he's already dead. He's dead. He got overkilled by 3 suits. Might as well counter. Wow, they've got like guys all around them and they're still not doing anything? How bizarre. Alright, Q. Where are we? Let's do this. Alright. Fire a Buster Rifle directly at the pinpoint. Dead. Good night, Irene. Now, we move him straight down here, or we can fire off another shot on the pinpoint. And since I'm doing, damn, I'm not at super high yet. That kind of sucks. All right, back down to the ground. You know what? I'm keeping you here long enough. Let's do something a little bit fun. We can do 4 locks. Lock 1. Lock 2, lock 3, and lock 4, because this one is, actually, no, you want a slightly different idea. Let's lock onto the 4 that are furthest away from the death side, so at least I can get him a little bit extra get meter. This is a 100% chance to hit, and they are not going to survive this. Just watch for the damage numbers. I just love how all your units fly in as well. Like, there's the tall geese. There's the 4 of them. Oh, I missed one? What a dick. Oh well, the Death Scythe can still take care of him. Yeah. 6,700 damage on 3 out of 4. That's pretty good. It also really helps level up the all the characters on the ships. Yay, a new skill. Right. You know what you're doing, Death Scythe. Hang on, we're just moving that one extra square. Finish him off for me, will ya? We'll move him up. Take out the second one. And now we'll move him all the way up here again. Don't want to be able to hit anything, but that's okay. And just for the purpose of making sure these guys are ready, I'm going to move them all back into the ship. So, when you use raid units, they regain health automatically depending on their positioning on the field. In the case of the warship units, they don't unless you have like specific items on them and stuff like that. And yeah, that's it's not very useful. Not very useful Barbatos, is it? But yeah, in the case of the warship group, you have to get them back into the what's it called? You have to get them back into the warship, but over the course of a single turn, they'll get all of their health and all of their energy back. So basically, it depends on how you want to play. You want to play with you're going to take the one that's furthest from you. You want to play with the with nothing but warships. Just drop in a couple of warships. You're going to need a little bit of money in order to afford more than just the basic warship, but you can do it if you like. I have a feeling I'm going to need to destroy these things either way, so it isn't the worst thing in the world, but I'm just wiping the floor with them at this point. Go Strike Noir, you know what you're doing. Yes, we'll do some kissing damage to this guy. 6,000 damage. That has got to hurt in so many ways. And yeah, you can still move, so you can still attack. Although his energy is a little bit low, I probably want to be careful of that. A drained suit is a useless suit. Do I have any attacks on range? Of course I do. I have an army knife. It'll do the trick, considering that I'm currently hitting pretty hard. And most of the raid unit hasn't moved yet, so we'll just move them all up and into the middle. There we are. Oh, and the Sandrock can still go, so let's just take this guy out and be done with it, shall we? Oh yeah, right, we can still attack. Now I know there's going to be a second stage of this fight because Zack hasn't shown up yet, and they tell you that he is on the intro screen, so that's almost everybody. I guess we'll just move the heavy arms back up to the north, and that'll, I mean, that should do it, right? I'm pretty sure I don't have anything in the way of, dudes left to move. Oh yeah, him, but we'll leave him to his misery. He's going to die next turn. There's pretty much no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Poor Maganaka. Yeah, I guess we counter this one. Just so we have a little bit of just so we have a little bit of bait for extra morale. Let's evade this one. We're gonna need the energy next turn. in order to take out the transport ships. I mean, I could do that now, but if I do it now, I won't get the extra turn bonus. Yeah, counter him. Let's see how you do. Yay! 0 damage! Nice. At least we know he's actually pretty good against some ranged units because he just outright negates some of their damage. And he actually hits pretty hard too, all things considered. Good job, Barbatos. You weren't actually useless in this fight after all. Except for the fact that you actually can't hit this guy now, so... Of course they're all going for him. They know he can't hit back. What shits? Tall geese. No, will they? Oh, you know what? You're so going to fucking die, so... Nah, he didn't live long enough to fight back. That's unfortunate. Yeah, we'll counter that. We're not going to kill it, so... And we can literally just counter support with the entire raid group and just f*** his day up, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to let them all gather around the things they can't seem to hit to save their life, and be done with it, I suppose. God, if I went to the effort of getting the Stargazer, which has like a map weapon, which is just a special kind of weapon you can use without moving, that usually goes over like a huge range. If I just was able to put a flash mine like straight there, I would kill everything in this space because they all have 0 bloody health in comparison. It would be fantastic, but it looks like my luck is not going to let me get to that point at the moment. Oh wait, I'm critting, so I might actually be able to kill this guy in one shot. And I did. That's awesome. Let's continue on with that. Just so I don't have to take out the really strong ones later, once he loses supercharge. Cool. I am literally playing this entire game with a mouse. Like, I don't even need like the keyboard shortcuts for the most part. I've just got it all figured out. Which is like really cool for me. I mean, I actually do think it's really cool. I really appreciate being able to play entirely without the mouse. Like, that's actually a fantastic thing for me personally. I just enjoy being able to do that. I can't go anything from this distance, unfortunately. The Vertibuster. We'll use some of the... Oh, we can only use this thing to actually do damage. And the blue frame, who's just all down here all by his lonesome. Who can't actually do anything because he moves too slow. It's a shame. I love these little guys, but apparently it's just not really working out in his favour today. I know everybody else floods in this general direction and fires off attacks at the first thing they manage to hit. Which in this case is nothing, because none of them managed to hit anything except for the one guy. Yeah, when they're like this, 40% of their HP back in one turn. That makes them monsters if you keep them all really close to each other. The only downside is that they don't get their energy back anywhere near as quickly, so they find themselves needing to split apart more often than not just to get their energy back. But man, someone who's really skilled at the game can get like a bunch of massive energy tanks put them all on the best units in the game, and just have a raid group that moves up step by step and just wipes the floor with literally everything it sees. Alright. So now I get to figure out how the hell I plan on doing this. Because I need to finish all of these guys off in one turn for the bonus objective, which usually just involves a couple of extra grunt units spawning that are stronger, give more get meter, and usually have a special skill or two. However, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do it. That's unfortunate. I wonder how you're supposed to do that. There's probably like a... Like, if you were chaining... steps off, it would probably be possible to finish that in 4 turns. If you manage to somehow chain chance steps off every single turn in order to get to every single plane, you might be able to pull that off, but I don't really see how you're supposed to do it in this case. 7 inactive. Oh yeah, they're all in the ship, right? We're just keeping them all there until they don't have the energy to deal with you at the moment, unfortunately. Neither you. Neither you. You can stop now. Of course they're going to keep doing this. What was I expecting? Screw it, you guys can just, like, lie down and die at this point. I want to leave at least 3 alive for the Death Scythe. So it can get the maximum amount of kills next turn. Oh, that's cool. You can just stand up there and die. 1 hit kill. Yeah, but I don't want him using his energy too quickly. Bollocks! What a bunch of bastards. Alright, you can destroy that one. Everything gets its healing, and we're back up here. So, we are supercharged right now, which means we should be able to hit instant kill pinpoint attacks on both of these transport ships. And we finally get to see what the rest of this mission has in store for us. At least we get a decent amount of get energy from it. I'm never going to complain about having too little in the way of get energy. Oh no, don't you dare go away. I still want to fight with you guys. Alright, so 12 units. That's not that much. Especially considering we just managed to wipe out like 24 without so much of breathing. It's way too big to be an Ares. That must be the tall geese. The other tall geese. Everyone else is looking up at the sky and thinking, what the fuck? How did that guy that is helping us is also now up there? Having a bit of a pepper on. know what, screw it. I'm just gonna run away. I'm just gonna let them all come to me, attack them all, and get myself a few extra gap points with the Wing Gundam, because why not? Alright. So yeah, there's only like 12 extra units on the field. This really doesn't affect me. This is a surprisingly easy mission. Unfortunately, it looks like I am going to have to come back to the death site, but at least I know that it's not only here, but quite easily accessible. Maybe I should put the difficulty up to hard, in all honesty. It seems like something that I should probably at least test out, considering how much I've been able to steamroll everything with a full group of 8 of some of the best suits that these universes have seen. But that's just me. You know, I can hit him from here, so I might as well. No reason not to. He's not going to be able to come back and hit me. Alright, so that was a crit. Strike Noir. You and the Vertibuster. Actually, can I do this? Oh. Yeah, you and the Vertibuster can work on the bottom right corner. The raid group can work on the upper right corner. Can I attack from there? I can, but it's... screw it. It's just energy. Just finalize him. You can just stay there. You've done nothing for me this entire game. The ship can move. We might as well do a warship attack, because why not? Still hurts. Sortie. The teammates that were able to heal up over the last turn. Do some more damage. Sortie. Oh, it's 2 Gundam Stray Gold frames. Oh, no, that's a Sandrock. Whoops. They kind of look the same from, Okay. You can attack this one. Barbatos can just charge at him, but he's not going to reach them in time. Sandrock. Yeah, we need to save those guys over there. So Sandrock can just head over this way as well. The Death Cypher's already moved, so we'll just get the Tall Geese in there to finish this guy off. They're all done. Get everybody in the raid group. Let's move up to the top right. Take a swing at the top right group. You get a chance step, so you get to move again. No, you can't actually hit anything. That's fine. Yeah, you're not supposed to move. We can move the 8, SFS, I suppose. But that's pretty much it. Pass. We basically do need to finish these off at this point, don't we? So we might as well just start attacking them. They all need to die. What's the skill I got? Ability skill? Analyst. Sure. I took a hit, so I'm gonna go from, yeah. That's a shame. However, now I believe I'm completely out of energy, so there's nothing I can do except evade the rest. Now I have the tall geese on my ass and it can actually hurt me. Oh, that's not good. That's not really good at all, if I'm being honest. I'm supposed to be able to, like, move some... What am I doing? I should be just taking these guys out if I can. It's nice being able to back up through menus just by right-clicking. It's such a simple maneuver, but it makes being like, oh, I just want to back out of this menu I just accidentally went into, be really easy. Like, a lot of PC games don't even do that. One hit, 15 damage. Alright, now it's our turn again. Oh! That's interesting. I really should have thought of that. And... this guy can ascend as well, can't he? Okay. Now, what else do I want to send up there? Like, what's worth the time to send up there? The warship itself? Wait. First thing we're going to do is... oh, no, hang on. We can get as many units back in the ship as possible. After we, like, kill these guys so they get an extra turn. Now we can move him back into the ship. Because we basically need to send the entire kitchen sink at that tall geese at this point. I forgot that you could do that. I forgot you could move between maps, so this is not great for me, personally. The downside isn't gonna... oh, it can't get on the SFS. Because it's not the, oh, this is gonna be fun. Did I just, like, lose? I'm semi-convinced I just lost the entire fight, but because I just didn't send anyone up to take care of the problem up in the sky. This may have been an incredibly poor strategic move on my part. Well, they're all dead now, at least on the left. The right's got 2 units left, but... hopefully he takes the bait. That's all I can hope for at this point. Hopefully he takes the bait of all of this shit coming up to just wipe the floor with him. At the very least, I might be able to get through 1 or 2 attacks. That might just be enough to save my ass, but... no, he can't ascend. This is what happens when you only play 7 missions, folks. You completely miss a really important game mechanic that will probably fuck you over. In my defense, the game doesn't have that much in the way of a tutorial, and I haven't actually had to play a mission like this yet, so they're kind of dicks. Just a little. Yeah, the stray, yeah, he can't ascend either. Alright, we can move the Barbatos here. Which means that we can use this ship's skill to capture, to return him. And now we can ascend with the ship and all of the units in it. We just can't actually do anything. As for... Fuck, I really wish I thought of that. Alright. Just get them all as close to this guy as possible. Man, I really wish I checked for that. Oh boy. Oh, I have screwed that up something 10 times as horrible as it could have gone, but thankfully, with these guys up here to distract him, maybe the AI will decide, oh, I should attack these guys first. So let's see what they do. The Slaughter Dagger is being attacked, but nothing attacks a Slaughter Dagger. And he gets that skill immediately applied, because it's a pilot that I'm using, so they just get that immediately installed. And marksmanship isn't a bad ability to have. Not really. They're all going for the Slaughter Dagger, though, which is, concerning. Because I get the feeling the Tall Geese is about to do exactly the same thing. Nope, the Tall Geese has moved down, but it's decided not to attack. This is a good move on its part, for my benefit. Because this means I now have someone literally standing right next to him that can only hit him 57% with a fucking beam saber from up close. My god, they're trying to screw me here. Right. Attack with potential. 82% and it still missed. Fuck you. Alright. New plan. Move him down. Raid, link up. Come on, hit him. Thank God. Okay. That did some damage. That did some more damage. That really hurt my Astray Gold frame. You know, I could probably actually, like... Oh, that's worth a try. Yes! That was a little frightening, but we got there in the end. What did I get? Oh yeah, it told me earlier it was control level 1, but... Oh right! They're all still up there. I need to go take care of them. Yeah, barrage it, why not? No reason not to. 6k damage. You know what, Slaughter Dagger? You get to be useful. One. There's the tall piece over there, just wondering. No, let's get a proper defense boost instead. There we go. Move the Slaughter Dagger down here so that we can do an 88% beam attack on that. Say goodnight. He's cute. Slightly inappropriate for to be piloting a unit called the Slaughter Dagger, but we'll just ignore that for now. And I still have you. Now, can't hit anything from here. But what about... Nope, he can't actually sortie because the grid didn't show up. Neither can he. Neither can he. And neither can he. What a waste of time. This is what I was supposed to check my shit for. God damn it. Just wait there. And back down to the ground. I assume all the ground units are dead. Except for him, so we can just descend and go on the attack, because why not? That was unbelievably close. I am dumb. Let it be known, I am thoroughly dumb. Yeah, I just swarmed like 16 random dudes in there. Of course we went against all your grunt units. Interesting score, 11116. Probably my overall rating, 1 out of 6, for not noticing that I could go up and down. Right, so at the end of the mission, the one who gets the most kills on your custom team gets a lot of XP, and the others, like second and third, get a little bit of a bonus, extra little bit to that. My score plus completion bonus gives me some extra capital to spend, and depending on your quests, your secrets, your challenge missions and all that, you get dispatch cutters, shorteners, stuff like that. And here's the stuff we can build. We can build an Ares Oz, and we can get the Gin Custom. Nice. And we get 2 pilots. Nice. Our percentage did not go up, unfortunately, but, well, that's just the way it is. So that was an extremely long look at SD Gundam G Generation Cross Rays. It's got the same build up your forces, use them to take on the missions with the Gundam Code of Paint sort of gameplay loop going for it that the original did. And I still think it's good. I do appreciate the new kinds of additions like the Raid Group, and the 4 series they picked out have a pretty good variety of mobile suits, so it's always a bit of fun to see what you're going to get next, especially when you can end up with a team that has a Estrella, tons of Astray frames, bloody Abyss Gundam, whatever the hell that is, a Verta Buster, a Strike Noir, and a Tall Gaze piloted by Zax at the front of the line. It would be really, really good if they could create a full-on, just every franchise style game like this. Like there were the SD Gundam games earlier on that did have every franchise, but they had every story in an even worse way than this. But well, I guess that would be a massive amount of work, and you'd probably have to charge $120 for it or something like that. But yeah, the game itself really good. The PC port, outside of that damage bug I mentioned 2 hours ago, works more than well enough. I was able to play the game entirely with the mouse, and it's surprisingly comfortable doing it that way. At least if you've got an ergonomic mouse, I hope you would. And would I recommend it? Yeah, I would. You might have to be more of a Gundam fan to appreciate it more than just some random dude off the street, but the strategy itself is still fun. There's a lot of units to unlock, there's a fair amount of things that go into building your squad, and with things like group dispatch, the new raid stuff, DLC coming, of course, and all of that usual stuff. Not to mention that they've got a mobile suit called Geminas, but yeah, it's fun. It's a good strategic time about building your own unit and doing things the way you like, and I appreciate that quite a lot. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.